Am I the asshole for not wanting my son to pursue a career in music? This one's tricky. This sounds dangerously close to myself growing up. Please excuse my subpar English. It's not my first language. We will forgive that and continue. My 45 female, so she's 45, and son 17-year-old male, has always been interested in music, but only as a hobby. However, about a year ago, he started taking it super seriously and now practices about 5 hours a day and dedicates his free time to reading music books and writing songs. That is dope. I wish I would have taken it that seriously when I was 17, because then I don't think my parents would have had an issue with it. All I was doing was sitting in my room writing rhymes and recording freestyles into a karaoke machine. A few days ago, he mentioned that he would like to become a professional musician. Now, I have no problem with his love for music, but I am worried about having it as a career. I get that. You don't want to see your child fail. You want to see them do better than you did. When he started high school, his original plan was to take a degree in computer science, but he said himself that it was because computer science was the only subject that didn't bore him at school. For me, it was English. English was the only thing that didn't bore me. My senior year, I had the dopest teacher. He noticed that I was writing in the back of the class and in my little rhyme book, and I had a little small rhyme book at the time, one of them little pocket size that I could just stuff in my back pocket. He pulled me aside after class and he was like, "Hey, let me see what you're writing." I was leery at first, but I gave it to him. He started reading a few pages. He didn't say it was good, didn't say it was bad, but he said, "You finish this book by the end of the year, I will give you an automatic A." Please believe I took that bet. Shit. Anyway, I digress. That was my favorite subject in school that didn't bore me. My son does very well at school and is usually around the top of the class despite his very hard subject choices. However, I notice his grades have dropped quite significantly, now only getting slightly above average grades, and some of his teachers have commented on his lack of effort in projects and in the classroom. Honestly, that is a red flag. If you plan to take something seriously, you do have to give it your all. And you have to display that you can give it your all by how you attack other things in your life that aren't necessarily as important to you. Because clearly, school ain't important to him no more. Though his grades are just good enough to apply for his desired university, which is very highly ranked, he said that he no longer wants a degree in computer science, but in music instead. I was disappointed to say the least, and I asked him to just focus on school and his future instead, but he replied with, "Mom, I hate school. Nothing about it is interesting to me, and I don't want to waste my time doing useless work. Music is literally the only thing I enjoy, and I want to do it as a job." He didn't say he didn't want to go to school. If he has to go to school, he would like to go to school for a music degree. If I'd have said that, I probably would have got a better pass. But he did come forward and say, "You know what? I don't want to do a computer science degree. I want to do a music degree." And I think that's real admirable. You still want to go to school. You're still going to get all your GEs, general education for those who don't know. It's just now your degree isn't something that you deem as useful. I don't see that as a problem. If your child tells you they have no interest in school, but they have an interest in music, and your desire is for them to get a proper education, take them up on that. Because for me, I didn't go about it that way. I just didn't go to class. This kid is telling you, "I'm not interested in school. I'm interested in music." I think the good compromise there would be let this kid at least get a degree in something. This got me quite concerned, and I told him that I wouldn't allow him to, as I worry about his financial situation in the future. He got visibly upset and wouldn't talk to me for the next few days. I was the same way. When I talked to my husband about it, he fully supported me and said my son should take something more secure. However, I don't want my son to resent me for forcing him to give up his dream, so I gave him an agreement. I still wanted him to take a degree in computer science, but at a much easier university so that he wouldn't have to stress too much about schooling, and told him that he could still make music with a CS degree, but couldn't become a computer scientist with a music degree. Listen, man. So here's where I feel for the 17-year-old. Support what he actually wants to do. And this is the frustration I have with a lot of parents. Stop trying to force your goals onto your child. He was still quite disappointed at the agreement, saying, "I don't want to take a degree in something that I have no interest in. What's the point of having money when I'm wasting my life doing something I don't want to do?" Talk that talk, boy. I've been there too, because I was at a job. I can say this. I worked at DirecTV for about a year as a, an accountant. Longer story. I won't get into that. I got paid well, very well. It's the highest paying job I've ever had in my life. I hated every minute of it. because it's not what I wanted to do. I don't have a degree in accounting. I did not want to be there, even though the money was dope. I'd never made that much money in my young adult life. I believe I was like 23, 24. I never made that much money. And I was very secure, but I hated it. So to this kid's point, why would I go get a degree and live in a job that doesn't fulfill me? And I think that's the generational gap thing happening. I'm on the earlier end of the millennials. The latter half completely honed in on that and just said, nah, we gonna do what fulfills us. Although I feel my agreement was fair, I'm still struggling to convince him and feel a bit bad for him since I understand his points. Am I the asshole? So this one's loaded. I don't think she's an asshole. I think she's a concerned parent. A job in the art field is very fickle. It is not secure. If somebody likes you today, they could hate you tomorrow, and your pockets will suffer as a result. But that also comes with the territory. This mom, and husband for that matter, because he felt the same way, is concerned about their well-being. And I think that is a fair assessment. I don't think you're an asshole for that. I think you want to set your kid up for all kind of success. But it is not your life. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not your life. And you have to accept the fact that this individual that you brought into this world, that you raised up to be a certain type of way, will make their own choices. They might be terrible choices. Trust me, I've made a bunch of them, but I ultimately live with it and I own to it. And eventually, if you raise them the right way, which I feel like my parents did, they will find their way to secure themselves. You have to trust your child to make the right decisions that's best fit for their own life, because they have to live it. On the other hand, as a child, you have this dream that you want to do. First off, your grades are slipping, bro. You got to get that together. You living under somebody else's roof. If you're not working a job and you have no other distractions other than your own interests, you're now being selfish to the economy of your household. You have to do what your job is, which is be a child, go to school, get good grades, come home in one piece. That's your job. I believe parents will be more supportive of your interests if you actually gave them what they needed to feel secure in your decisions. Because your grades are slipping, that causes some doubt. You're not giving them too much grounding in that you're going to be secure, because you're not handling the things you're supposed to be handling right now. Finish that school, get the grades that you know you can get, and do the things that you want to do. I'm not mad at a backup plan. You always got to have something to fall back on. That's not to say a plan B. It's not to say a plan B. This is different, because we all know music ain't gonna pay you when you first get into it, unless you're a stupid kind of prodigy and you're a Nepo baby. Having a backup plan, meaning a way that you can make money until this thing does make money. I don't agree with the whole go to an easier university, because that's cheap. Go where it's easier. What are we teaching? What are we teaching? Why do you want your child to have an easier way to go about it? The challenge is what builds the diamonds. The challenge is what builds the strong. You don't go for the easier route. I digress. Make sure that you develop some type of backup plan so that you can make money. Like my mom always calls it, the steady Eddie. That steady Eddie is going to get you through until that thing you really want to do pays you. In closing, do I think that she's an asshole? No, but I do think she's stubborn. And I think an open course of dialogue is absolutely needed. And I think a little bit of grace is needed on both sides. So I'm going to say stubborn, not an asshole. I just think it's a parent that just wants their kid to do well. Let me know if you agree with me in the comments. How do you feel about it? Did somebody stop you from doing your passions? Did somebody deter you from pursuing the things that you wanted to do? Let me know in the comments and let's talk about it. Tap in with me. You know, tap back. Peace.